Come on in here. How you doing? Sorry, I've been away. What a week. I'll tell you about it in a minute, but I'm glad you could be here. And I do a program a lot in Alton, Illinois. I do a radio show. It's a great guy. Smash is his name. And Smash hosts a talk show. I do it. And he plays Trini Lopez version of This Land Is Your Land. Is that it? It's so it bops along, and when I'm waiting to go on, I whistled one time, and I didn't know I was on the air. So now he calls me Whistling Ed Martin. I'm not a good whistler, but I do enjoy it. Anyway, welcome. Come on in. Let's make sure we get some things right here. We got to do this. We have to do this. Otherwise, we're missing the focus. So let me make sure. I'll put it up on the old machine here, and let us say the Pledge of Allegiance to our great flag. There it goes. Ready? Stand up with me if you can. If you can't, stand up in your heart. Here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Well, let me turn that off. Where I was this week, I spent most of the week traveling with General Flynn and also Mike Lindell, and just was very busy. But what I wanted to tell you was this. Each of the times I was with General Flynn, he said the Pledge of Allegiance, and he spoke about it. Powerful. If you could find one of his speeches where he's talking about the Pledge of Allegiance, powerful. 31 words, he says. 31 words. That's all it is. 31 words. Very cool. So, anyway, lots happening. I hope you're tracking much of it, but I wanted to jump on here and make sure that we talk about what the title of this was, which is Make the Big Deal the Big Deal. There's an old friend of mine, Congressman Pete Sessions of Texas. Congressman Sessions, I've known him for I was thinking about the other day, 12 years, 13 years. When I was just a kid in politics, he and I got to know each other in St. Louis. He once worked in St. Louis. He worked for Southwestern Bell. I don't know what what the name of the company was before it was Southwestern Bell. But he worked for the Bell Telephone Company there in St. Louis for a few years. And so he knew St. Louis. Anyway, he came through and he helped me. We became fast friends. And he loves little phrases. In fact, he has a calendar that he issues each year that highlights the phrases that he uses. But one of the phrases he told me, I don't think he invented it, but it's a good one, is make the big deal the big deal. Make the big deal the big deal. Meaning, don't get distracted by things that you think might be okay or whatever and ignore the big deal, right? You have to keep your focus on the important stuff. There's a reason why the word priority comes from the Latin root prior, meaning first. What's first? Make the big deal the big deal. And what you're watching is now the narrative machine in this country, big tech, big media, and big government. They're working together, and they're constantly trying to make us, we the people, focus on things that aren't the big deal. Again, I'll defer to General Flynn, who said in one of his speeches this week, he said he remembers hearing candidate, I think it was Barack Obama, just before he won the election in 2008, revealing that they wanted to fundamentally transform America, right? They wanted to fundamentally transform America. And what General Flynn went on to say is that's what's happening, right? And while Obama had some success in doing that in major ways, actually, and aided by then Vice President Biden and for a period of time by a House and Senate, but mostly he got stopped by the Tea Party, by We the People, by people that in our states, remember we had leadership, by lots of things. And then we got a reprieve. But now we're paying a price because the reprieve of 4 years under Donald Trump, now we're seeing, it's not Biden unleashed. This is the Obama vision. This is the left's vision. It's happening every day. And the narrative machine, big media, big tech, big government, is trying to make us focus on the wrong things that we don't make the big deal the big deal. So earlier today, I put on the TV, and there is the floor of the House of Representatives, and they're now preparing to pass a law in the House to have D.C. statehood, make Washington, D.C., an otherwise failed local government, make them a state, meaning 2 senators, a congressman, all sorts of other things happen. Our founders, I just watched Newt Gingrich talk about it. Our founders had a very specific constitution that wanted the area where the government is residing wasn't a state. It was at our founding. Now, by the way, doesn't mean it can't be changed. My point is the left wants to change it. And here's the thing. In the last 3 days, we've watched ourselves chase the argument about whether a cop was a racist, whether a cop should have shot someone who had a knife. We have the left defending knife fights. We have, all these different things that are meant to run us in circles. But the big deal here is the people that have power are not stopping. As soon as they won the Chauvin trial, with Maxine Waters putting inappropriate pressure on the jury, with the President Joe Biden saying inappropriate things out of the White House, all that, they won, supposedly. They didn't win. They damaged the rule of law and they damaged our traditions, but they won. They didn't stop. They didn't say, oh, good, we have justice. They went on to the next thing. LeBron James, one of the leaders of the voices that said we have to do X, Y, Z, suddenly LeBron James is a public policy expert. I don't know what his GPA in high school was. He probably was a smart guy. Anyone who's a genius in basketball is a bright guy, and he's a genius. But I don't know why he thinks he knows public policy. It's a little bit like asking Dr. Fauci to give you an assessment on how our economy works. Fauci says shut it down. You say, wait a second, do you understand how economies work? He didn't. So we have this, but the media loves to say, narrative machine, let's listen to LeBron. He's a leader. He's a leader. By the way, LeBron James won't answer the question if he was vaccinated. You know why? Because African Americans don't trust vaccines, and LeBron James was vaccinated. And he doesn't want to be honest with people because he thinks he's a leader of people, and what he wants to keep them, wait for it, ignorant. That's it. That's the game. Otherwise, you'd answer the question. You're supposed to be a leader. Answer the question. Either way, it's a good answer. I don't want to get vaccinated. The people say, okay, I can try. LeBron has the ability to pay for lots of experts. He must be able to think he's safe. Or I'm vaccinated. And then people can say, oh, he must have a lot of access to experts and they say it's safe. We won't answer the question. That's profiles in cowardice. And so here's the profile in cowardice. LeBron James, as soon as the Chauvin trial is over, he tweets on to the next guy and he puts a photo of a cop in this other incident. He deleted it, LeBron did. But they're making us chase the next non-big deal. Make the big deal the big deal. Because the left is agitating their people every chance they get. It's an Alinsky tactic. It's a communist tactic. Agitate the people and keep them agitated. You can't let them be sated. You can't let them be satisfied. You need them agitated. So you go from transgender, you push that. You go to critical race theory, you push that. And by the way, all of these things put together are fundamentally transforming America. So pull back from it and say, what's the big deal, Ed? What is the big deal? The big deal is these people in power are radically transforming America. That's their goal. It's not any one of these battles. In fact, they're willing to lose some of these battles to keep their people agitated. They're willing. I actually think they will try to steal DC statehood, but they're right now, because think about it. If Chuck Schumer could force through DC statehood, he gets 2 more senators. They're guaranteed to be Democrats. So now he gets 2 more votes. Makes it harder to get back control for anybody else. So the big deal, what's the big deal, Ed? The big deal is they're transforming America. What do we do about it? I've told you before, you have to find the pockets, the units where you can make a difference for that part of your life. I'm not calling for you to run for office now. That's down the line. I think people are premature. Right now, we've got to get ourselves stronger. You've got to make your voice heard out in Missouri, in our legislature, for example, the critical race theory, they're fighting to stop that. And you have to give backbone to the leaders that are in office because they're scared. Most people in office, Grover Norquist said this once, most people in office, they go to Congress, for example, they come up with a spine. They have a spine. And then there's something in the water up here that slowly erodes your spine. And Grover Norquist's point was you have to build, this was talking about taxes. He said you have to build an exoskeletal system around the every member of Congress, his point was, to give them a backbone when theirs gets eroded by the water in Congress. By the way, another reason to drain the swamp, because the water erodes the backbones of congressmen. But in Missouri, for example, they're fighting, and I had some citizens say, what do we do? Contact your state reps. We got to buck up the people in the units we can control and influence and make it stronger. School boards. Local government. General Flynn was talking this week about sheriffs. You know how powerful sheriffs are? Did you see the Polk County sheriff In Florida, after Ron DeSantis signed a law that said, we're not going to allow rioting, the Polk County Sheriff said, we welcome anyone to come down here. And he said, don't vote like you did up north. He meant New York, I think. We don't bring that policies down here. But your local sheriff can make a huge difference. You got to band together where you are and build the units that you have in terms of influence, in terms of knowledge, and you can't get distracted from the big deal. They're transforming America. They're transforming America. They're lying about racism. It's not a racist country. It's a lie. Look around you. I flew about 5 times in the last 4 days. Look at an airport. Look at how people interact. It's a lie. It's a lie. But the other lies they're doing, they're transforming our kids. They're fundamentally transforming America, solidifying power in our schools, brainwashing our kids. Understand the big deal. The big deal is the transformation of America. And I'm not someone who throws around the word hate too much. But when you see what they are doing, it sure looks like they hate America. It sure looks like it, right? You can't read their minds or their hearts. I pray that their hearts will go softer and go to the truth. But make the big deal the big deal. Don't get distracted. Don't get pulled away. Make the big deal the big deal. And be focused, and then get your units, get your education. I've got to come up and say it clear. I often talk to some of our Eagles, and I say, sink your roots in, sink them in. A new tree. We got new trees in our neighborhood. People planted trees. We haven't planted any this spring because the cicadas are coming to the area we live in. The 17-year cicadas, and they're supposed to be really tough on new trees. So we haven't planted new trees. I'm worried about my neighbor's new trees. But I said to my kids, the reason why the cicadas damage the new trees, it's because they don't have roots that are sunk down. Get your roots sunk down. Don't let things cut off your roots. Don't let them get cut off by the big tech. Don't let them get cut off by big media. Sink your roots down. Do that through the Bible, through Scripture. Do it through the founding documents. Do it through the other great leaders, the smart writers. Sink your roots in. Sink them in. Help other people sink their roots into the truth. Then build those communities, those units that can influence and make your influence heard. All right, I just want to make sure you knew about keep the big deal the big deal. We will, I'm back around. So this week I'll be back some more on here. Thank you. Do me a favor, pass this on. Let me see where it is here. Let's see. There you go. ProAmericaReport.com. Go to ProAmericaReport.com. Sign up for the daily email I send out. Also, my radio show is over there archived. You can listen and follow me on Twitter and other places. On Facebook, those that are watching on Facebook Live, you see it. Ed Martin Live is our place. On YouTube, I'm at Phyllis Schlafly Eagles channel. Phyllis Schlafly Eagles channel. And we'll catch up. We'll get you more updates on General Flynn too coming